Hello! I'm finally following through on cooking these HelloFresh meals. So hello to HelloFresh.
This is not sponsored.
Yeah, I'm gonna start by saying this video is not sponsored. We've been buying our own HelloFresh meals for, what, months at this point, since January? We've done it before in 2017. So this is the second time we've done it. The first time we did it, I got sick of being sent these every week. And I've come to the conclusion they're just really cheap and very easy to grow. And they don't bother me as much anymore. I still get them every single week with just about every meal. It's fine.
Get mad about it.
Well, I'm not mad about it. It's just, at this point, it's like a joke. Anyway, we have 2 meals this week that we're gonna cook. So for a while we were doing 4 meals a week. That's a lot for me to cook in 1 week. So what I do is I take the 2 meals that they send us and then I stretch them and make them, you know, maybe just a little bit bigger. I think the portion sizes for HelloFresh meals are really big anyway, very generous. So what I do is I just add additional protein, some like fibrous veggies. So let me flip the camera around and show you what we're working with. I've got Mom helping me in the kitchen. She's cutting up some raw chicken for me. So let me show you what we're working with right now. Here's what we're working with. So we have our first recipe card, spicy coconut curry stuffed peppers. The first thing I want to tell you is that we're not going to be stuffing peppers. Mom does not eat green peppers, Emma does not eat green peppers, and I don't really want to roast them and bother with stuffing them because you end up putting more outside of it, so it just seems really silly. So we're going to skip that part. But this is our first recipe, and this stuff here is all the stuff they sent with it. So we have chickpeas, coconut milk, this is Napa cabbage and bok choy, those onions I was talking about, limes, curry powder, veggie stock concentrate, sweet Thai chili sauce, white rice, and a couple of cloves of garlic. So it's an option to add chicken. I chose to add chicken on my own, which is what Mom is cutting up right now. I think their proteins can be a little bit expensive and low quality, so I prefer to like pick my own protein. So if I wanted to, I could add shrimp. Lamb. Oh yeah, shrimp would be really good in this. You could do like a white fish would be really good with this. But we're gonna do chicken because I don't like to do fish or shrimp leftovers. So here's the back of the recipe card. This is, you know, the cooking instructions. And then over here, I have a bag of coleslaw. So I'm gonna stretch this meal because this is supposed to be 1 meal that serves 4 people. But I'm gonna try to make this stretch to maybe 6 or 8 portions. So I'm gonna add some additional coleslaw, which is just green cabbage and carrots. This is gonna be really good in this curry. It's gonna cook down, it's gonna be great. And we'll also add the chicken to this. So that's our first recipe. The second one is over here. This is a Takaria pork bowl. And one of the things you see here is corn, and we're gonna skip the corn. Eating corn makes Mom feel like she's a cow and she's not a stock animal. Tell me I'm wrong.
Nope, that's true.
Yeah. So I went ahead and I put the cans of corn in the pantry, and if the Boy Scouts come knocking for canned goods, we've got something to give them. So this is the recipe card. We've got our ingredients here. They sent us some ground pork. You can modify this for ground turkey or ground beef. I don't like to pay them extra for a different protein. So we kept the pork, and I'm gonna add some pork chorizo to this. So we might be able to stretch this to maybe 6 meals. And then we've got some Monterey Jack cheese. I'm probably gonna pull some more cheese out of the fridge because this is just
Skimpy.
well, yeah. I'm a cheese girl, and this is enough maybe for me for 1 bowl. There's no way we're gonna stretch that to 6.
That's a snack.
Yeah, that's a snack. It's 1 ounce. That's really sad. We've got a couple of limes, some chili powder, cilantro, Southwest spice, beef stock, 1 sad little jalapeno. We do have a couple more over there that we might use, and some rice. So to get started, I'm actually gonna cook all of the rice all at once because why not just cook 1 big pot of rice? So I think that's where we're gonna start. So we will put all of the rice in 1 pot, and we'll just double the amount of water that we need. So this says 1.5 cups, and this says 1.5 cups. So we'll just do 3 cups of water and all of the rice for about 20 minutes. So before I actually start cooking the rice, I want to rinse it. There's like a starchy powder on the rice. I think it makes it gummy if you don't rinse it off. So I just like to rinse it with water until the water running through it runs clear. And then I put a little drizzle of oil in my pot, and I cut off the white parts of the onions because I'm gonna toast them, cook them in the oil in the pot that I'm gonna cook the rice in. So I'll put these in the oil, cook them for just a couple of minutes, and I find that this gives a really flavorful scented rice, so the rice isn't quite so boring. And then the little bit of oil in the bottom of the pot gives us a less sticky rice, which is nice for the bowls that we're gonna be making later. So I've got the oil heating up, so I'll go ahead and stick these into the pot that I'm gonna cook the rice in. You may notice that I'm not following the instructions yet, and that's because I like to play in the kitchen. So what I do is I read the recipe card, I get a general vibe of how I'm supposed to cook this stuff, and then sometimes I go off script and I just do it my own way. Some recipes are a little more complicated than others, so I will follow those recipes that I'm like, I don't know about this. But some of them, like this one, the curry one, the first step, cook the rice. Well, cook the green peppers, we're skipping that part, and then cook the rice. So we're doing that. For this one, the first step is to cook the rice. And we're doing that. Yeah, I just kind of like to do it my own way. They send me the food and a general vibe for the meal, and then I kind of make it my own, and that makes me happy because I get to play in the kitchen and I get to make something that I know I'm gonna like. A lot of their recipes I think need more garlic. Sometimes I think they need a little bit more spice, more flavor. I can hear the white onions on the stove getting a little hot, so I think it's almost time to put the rice in. So let's go back over there and check that out. So I did a couple of tablespoons of, I think it's grapeseed oil. Yeah, we get this from Aldi, and it's an alternative to like vegetable oil, but I'll just cook this just for a couple of minutes. I don't want them to get, you know, golden brown or anything. I just kind of want them to scent the oil, and then I'll add the rice in. So let's do that. Rice is in, and I have not added any water yet, so I'm just going to kind of stir this up. And I know you're not supposed to stir rice, especially once you add the water. Since we rinsed a lot of that starch off of the rice, it shouldn't get sticky. And another thing that's going to help us is adding that oil to it, but I do want to mix in those scallions into the rice so they don't burn on the bottom of the pan. Now we can add our water. So this is just 2 cups, so we'll need 1 more cup after this. 1 more cup. And then we put on the lid and set a timer for about 20 minutes. Next we have 2 things that we're going to add or cook on the stovetop next to the rice. So I'm gonna start with the Takaria Bowl. This one's gonna be really easy. Very low maintenance. You cook the pork on the stovetop with the spices that they sent. So let me go ahead and prepare the taco meat for our taco bowls. So I've just added the water with the stock concentrate to the pork. I think it's cooked, I think it's done, but I've made a decision, and I think I want to add some of this cabbage to this coleslaw mix to the meat. So I'm not gonna use this whole bag for the curry meal. I'm gonna use about half the bag for this because it'll cook down, and I think it'll be a nice addition to this meal because we don't have any vegetables in it. And it's not like the cabbage has a bad flavor or anything. It's basically just gonna add volume to the meal with some fiber, and it'll cook down pretty quick. And while I'm here, I'm gonna add some garlic powder to this, or granulated garlic, because there's no garlic in it and I think it definitely needs it. And no, I'm not measuring this. I measure garlic with my heart. And stir it in. We've got 4 minutes left on the rice, but this taco meat is done. I might just let it sit on the heat, let that cabbage wilt down just a little bit more. But this meal was super quick and really easy, very fast. And I know I made a lot of modifications. I didn't follow the instruction booklet at all. We could dice up the jalapeno and put it in here. I think the jalapeno it's meant to be a topping for the bowl, but maybe we'll dice that up and put that in here before we take this off the heat. It's not a bad idea. So I just diced those jalapenos up really fine. I did look at the recipe card and they were intended to be a topping, but I think they'll be really good in this. I can't add too much spice to it because Emma's not a spice girl. I'm trying to make her one. I'm doing my best, but progress is slow. This looks so good. So I think we can transfer this to another bowl. Normally I would dish it right out of this pan, but I need the pan for my curry. So I'll get another dish dirty. And then I'll start cooking the curry next, because this one is done. Clean pan, medium heat. I'm gonna put in just a little bit of the grapeseed oil. That's just water. I didn't bother drying the pan because we're just gonna cook in it. So we'll get that heated up, and I'm gonna grab the turmeric for the curry. Sorry, it's not turmeric, it's curry powder. There's turmeric in it for sure, but you can tell based on the color. Since I'm adding chicken, I might actually add some of my own curry powder to this too. Just because since I'm adding volume, I want to add a little bit more spice to this. And I want to get the spices toasting before I add the chicken, because as any good Indian cookbook will tell you, toasting the spices in an oil over just a little bit of heat kind of wakes them up, brings out the flavor a little bit more. So we'll just put all of the spice in here, all the spice packets, just 2 of them. And then let me dig around in my spice drawer and see what I can find. This one's my curry powder. And I think mine is actually like a hot Madras curry powder. So I'll just add a little bit more. Can't hurt anything. And then I'll stir. So I want to get that mixed into that oil. We may need a little bit more oil for this. I didn't add any oil, cooking oil, to the pan when I cooked the pork because pork is really fatty. Chicken is generally a leaner meat, so I can add a little bit more oil to this one, and it won't be the end of the world for this. Alright, so there's that. I don't know if you can see tiny bubbles, but that spice is toasting. I'm gonna add the chicken now. And I want to fully coat that chicken in that curry powder. Now that everything's more of an orange color, I can let this chicken sit and cook for a little while, and we'll move over to the sink to rinse our chickpeas. Now, you can save the liquid in here if you make cocktails very often, especially if you're a vegan. The liquid in the chickpeas in a can or in this pouch doubles as like an egg white in a cocktail. I'm not going to be saving mine, but if you're interested, you can do that. We'll give the chicken a really good stir, and then I'm gonna add in the vegetables that they sent. So this is bok choy and napa cabbage. And now that that's in, I'm gonna add my own cabbage, and I'm just gonna do the rest of the bag. So we'll stir that in and let it wilt down just a little. While that's cooking down on the stove just a bit, I'm gonna go ahead and come over to my cutting board. I've already cut up my green onions, and I need to do my garlic. I'm gonna grate this. You could use a knife. I don't want to, so I'm just gonna get my zester, and I'll grate the garlic because I think that's easier. In case you were wondering, it's this. I use this to zest my citrus, but you can also grate your garlic to make a paste. Those tubes of garlic and ginger, actually I think I have one I can show you in a second. Those are really handy, and I actually will use those sometimes. But I don't like to use the jarred garlic. I think that has a weird taste. So if I'm going to use a substitute that's not the fresh stuff, I will use the squeeze tube. This is jalapeno, but it's still what I'm talking about. It's like a squeeze tube of like a paste. This is green jalapeno, but they have garlic and ginger and I don't know what else, but I can find these at Aldi too, so they're super handy. And they're shelf stable until you open them, so that's nice. Or yeah, pantry stable. I went to the pantry and I grabbed more garlic because I think I'm gonna need more. I'm making the meal bigger, and 2 cloves of garlic is never gonna satisfy me anyway, so I'll do a little more. Scoop this up in a spoon, and then I think we're ready to head back on over to the stovetop. I'll leave this here for now, but I'm gonna take the chickpeas with me. Go ahead and dump the chickpeas in. While those are heating up, I'm gonna make my veggie stock with the Veggie Stock concentrate and 3/4 cup of water. So at this point, there's just a few other things we have to add. We have the Veggie Stock concentrate, which I just made, the sweet Thai chili sauce. There's 2 packets of this, just like there's been 2 packets of everything. We have 2 little cute tiny boxes of coconut milk, and the garlic. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the garlic now before I add any of the liquids. And I forgot about the scallion whites, or the scallions, so we'll add those now too. Stir that in. Try to mix that garlic in a little. smell the garlic already. And since this is kind of the full pan and there's a lot going on in the pan, what I could do is I could add these packets of the sweet chili paste on their own. I think I'm gonna go ahead and add these to the veggie stock that I made, just to dilute them a little because they're kind of thick. So I'll go ahead and dilute these so that they mix in better. So I just put both of those packets in here, and I'll go ahead and add this now. And I'm not going to devote too much time or attention to mixing it in, but I am going to spend quite a bit of time shaking my coconut milks because these like to settle. So shake, 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 shake until you're sure that they're completely liquid and there are no solid pieces left in here. If there is a little bit of solid left in the coconut milk, it's not the end of the world. It'll mix in, but it just makes it a lot easier if you spend a lot of time shaking them up. So I'll go ahead and pour these in now. It looks like whipped cream. It's so pretty. Mom was just asking if it tastes coconutty, and I'm letting her lick out the other container. Do you think it tastes coconutty, Mom?
No, not really.
She doesn't think so, and neither do I. I mean, it's like a light, very faint coconut flavor.
But it's not that sweet coconut, like flaked coconut.
Right. It's not oppressive. I don't really care for coconut, and I don't mind coconut milk. So, let's put the other one in. It's a fun texture. Because it really does look like whipped cream. So if you're looking at this thinking, that's a little watery for me, it is for me too. That just means that we're gonna let it simmer for just a few minutes and it'll thicken up. In the meantime, I'm gonna tidy up the kitchen a little. But I'm not gonna throw these away. These are the ends of those green onions. And even if you have a black thumb and you cannot grow anything, stick these in a little bit of soil and watch what happens. Because we stuck ours in dirt and have paid no attention to them and they're sprouting. We already have like, I don't know, what, 3 inches?
I gave a little water to it.
Yeah, I mean, no attention. We're not trying very hard, but these are so hard to kill. So if you want to grow anything to start out your garden, try green onions first. All right, let's finish out this curry. We've got our bubbles, so we're simmering. It looks like it's thickening up a little. It's taking some time, but that's okay. It will also continue to thicken once we let it cool. And we have to have some kind of juice for the rice to soak up, so we kind of want it to be a little runny. But in my hand I have their little sad handful of cilantro that I have cut up, so we'll add that. I also have some lime juice. This is juice that I've already squeezed out of limes. They sent me a couple. I'm not gonna squeeze them because I already have this. So I'll save the limes they sent me and I'll just do, you know, some and mix it in. And the last thing I'm gonna hit it with is some salt. This is the step I always forget, but I like to justify it by saying that people can salt their own food. But I try to do a light level of salt, so if people like more, they can add more. But then, you know, if I add too much, it's really hard to take it out. So I'll do just a little, and then everybody can add, you know, if they think they need it. So that's it, this curry's done. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this from the heat and set it over to the side, and I will show you how I dish up our food. All right, so here we have our taco meat. Here we have our rice, and it's done, it looks beautiful. And then this here is the curry. So we're gonna let that cool a little, but we're gonna start dishing things out. I have my containers. These are like meal prep containers. I've got 6, because I'm planning on doing 6 taco bowls, and I have 6 for the curry, and I might need more than that. We'll see how that goes. If I run out of rice, Worst case scenario, I run out of rice. And we actually have like the cups, I don't know if you've seen them, they're like little cups of microwave minute rice. So you peel the top off and you microwave them for a minute and they're perfect. So if I run out of rice, we can save that, or we can still dish out the curry and then we'll just use the minute rice at home. So let me go ahead and start dishing this out into our meal containers. So I dished up all of this food and Emma told me she was hungry. So I'm gonna feed her one of these so I get to show you. These are the minute rices I was talking about, and we're gonna need them because I was only able to do 3 of the curry bowls with rice and we have 4 without. So she's gonna have one of these and one of these for dinner tonight. Anyway, really quick, let me show you the aftermath. I've got everything dished out, so let me show you how many meals I made just from 2 HelloFresh meal kits for 4 people, adding a tube of chorizo, a bag of cabbage, and 3 chicken breasts. We have 6 taco bowls, and we have 7 curry bowls, and we have a great big mess. I won't apologize, I'm not sorry. It smells so good in here, and I need to have a bite, so anyway. So that's gonna be it for the HelloFresh meal preparation and how we like meal prep for the week. You can cook these and eat them same day. You can prepare them exactly the same way that the recipe tells you to. You don't have to do what I do, but I like to play in the kitchen. I like to add things. I like to make the meal stretch a little bit further. I think making them go a little further is a little more calorie conscious. You can customize them a little more. You can add fiber to them. You can add more protein to them. So I like to do it this way, but you can do however you want. But that's it from me for today. You guys will see me in another video really soon. Bye.